Hello and welcome into the LFC transfer room, a little Saturday night stream for you. Loads and loads and loads to get through. But first, we'll start with Harmony. How are you today, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. Apart from the weather being horrible, yeah, but I'm good. How you guys doing?
Yeah, weather's awful for you as well. It's shocking. How are you doing, Richie? Bad weather there as well?
Yeah, biblical, mate, for the past 24 hours, I'd say now as well. So it gives the crops some much needed water in the fens. So there's always that. Optimist.
Yeah, there's loads and loads to get through today. Loads of talk, transfer rumours. Madness has happened in the last few days. Probably the best way to describe it. But we'll start with Jordan Henderson. Apparently, he is going to stay because I don't even want to butcher this club's name. Al-Ettifaq. They don't want to pay for him basically, so he's staying. What do you think about that, Harmony? Do you reckon he's second pre-season? He's disrupted, really, isn't he? On
Yeah.
3 years. What's your thoughts?
Um, I'm happy, but not happy at the same time because I would have preferred that Fabinho stayed rather than Hendo. To be honest with you, even though I think the last couple of streams I was the guy advocated that we need him to stay and we need him to we need that leadership, we need that experience, especially for these the new lads that are coming in, and just to kind of to get them to know the expectation of the club and the standard of the club and the standard of what we will be holding them as fans, that they need to have every single game. But after just taking some time to think about it, I thought, you know what, we got enough leaders in the team. These young lads are coming in with a lot of experience, and one of them is actually an actual leader for his national team as well. So he doesn't really need anybody else to kind of be there to kind of give him that experience or give him that expectation, because he really has that expectation because he's a captain for his national team. So I thought he can go. But Fabinho is, yeah, that's one I'm a bit hurt by that one, but yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, Jem, we've heard this for Fabrizio Romano. Hendo has agreed a 3-year deal to join them, but the main issue is the price. The Saudi club expected to get him for free. I don't know on what planet he thought he'd get the Liverpool captain, England international, with 2 years left on his deal for free. But they are still in negotiations. So, what's the hold up, Richie? Really, if they're prepared to offer someone like 600-700 grand a week, 33 million a year, but they can't afford a transfer fee, it's a bit bonkers, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there really. I don't know whether it's PIF. I know they're not a PIF club. Well, so they say. I think most of them are. I don't know whether or not they're trying to get players over there, and then PIF are happy, or whatever company is happy to pay the wages, and that's how they are going to tempt players over there. Maybe they thought that being Hendo is going to get less minutes this season. They could have perhaps persuaded him. I think they have persuaded him, to be fair. The transfer fee bit is bonkers because we've seen, the likes of Koulibaly going for silly money, really, in terms of what Koulibaly is to Chelsea compared to what Henderson is for Liverpool. I think they're just trying to play it fast and loose, and Gerrard's obviously got in his ear, so cheers for that, Stevie. And it's one of those that Liverpool will be bonkers to get just to say, okay, you can go on a free, and that's obviously not going to happen. I think reading the reports today, it looks like 20 million will do it. I do think Liverpool will probably do a deal for 15, if I'm completely honest, though. And it does free up 20 million pounds in wage over the next 2 years with Hendo going. So really, it's a difficult one. But at the same time, I don't blame him at all for going. He's not been promised the minutes that he wants. And the lad's 32. All he's ever wanted to do is play football. You listen to him on the High Performance podcast and you listen to him speak. He just wants to play football. And if that's not going to be at Liverpool, who on earth can blame him for going for £500,000 a week to actually play football rather than sit on a bench? And I know that Liverpool's his club, and I know that he's a captain of Liverpool. But if I'm 32 and my years are numbered, really, I'm still want to be going to play football. And if you can do that in Saudi Arabia for 2 years, earning that money, setting your family up for generations for life, then, who's to say it won't? Hopefully they cough up the money and it's a good deal all round, though.
Jay Muse, in response to your comments, I'm saying it looks as though he's going to stay if they can't afford a transfer fee. I'm not in the know who's saying Hendo's staying. we're just discussing that the negotiating, and this was talking about a club with a £13 million budget, who Liverpool want 20 million. So where's the ground going to be met with the clubs? But Harmony, what's it do for his reputation if the transfer was to fall through?
I don't think it affects it does anything, to be honest with you. I think the only thing that people will come at him about is the whole LGBTQ, standing up for that and wearing that. But apart from that, as a Liverpool legend, his that's there forever, because what this guy has done for us in terms of the work that he's put in and the dedication. Because there was a time that we as fans, we could have literally drove him out of the club, but he chose to stay. He chose to continue working, and it paid off. And he's done a lot for us. And I think if a Liverpool fan comes out and says that he doesn't deserve the respect or the status that he's gonna get, then I don't know what more the guy could have done to kind of deserve that. And so I don't think that's the only thing people are gonna slap at him. But apart from that, I don't think anyone else could really say too much about him.
Richie, I mentioned before about it being a second pre-season. He sort of disrupted through talks. Before I carry on, Jen, thank you as always. You're absolute legend for the super sticker. But yeah, it's a second pre-season. He sort of disrupted having talks. If he does go, obviously he's then gone. If he doesn't go, do you think he still remains captain, leader in the squad when he's prepared to what other players might view that as chasing the money rather than staying with the squad on a rebuild?
I think so, because Klopp's not that kind of manager to get rid of him. There's a reason at the end of the day that Hendo wants to go. And, the cynics amongst people might say, yeah, it's because he's getting $500,000 to 700 grand a week tax-free. Maybe. I hold Hendo in a little bit higher regard than that. I think he wants to go because he wants to play football. Would we be having this conversation if Klopp had the discussion with Henderson saying, look, you're not in my plans, and Henderson moves back to Sunderland? I don't think we would. I think it's because of the money. I think that's he's greedy, he's going for the money, etc. I think if Sunderland came in, or Newcastle, well, not Newcastle, but a club who aren't as big as Liverpool and could guarantee him the minutes, I think he would probably still want to go. I think that's obviously a massive sweetener is the £500,000 a week, and whose head wouldn't be turned for that. But at the end of the day, I think we need to cut Hendo a little bit of slack. I think he'll stay as Liverpool captain. Absolutely, he's not the one who's going to come out or has come out, and we've not seen him say anything at all. In fact, and we've seen the likes of Sterling and Coutinho, even Suarez to an extent, saying that they did want to move, and they were quite open about that. Henderson said nothing, and that's what you expect from a captain. I'm going to throw something out there. If we're saying Henderson's moving for the minutes and the money, is that better or worse than what Gerrard did when he tried to force a move to Chelsea, and he obviously wanted to go for the glory?
Gerrard said no in the end. No, that's where he redeemed himself, I think.
So if Hendo now says no in the end, actually, I don't want to go over to Saudi Arabia, I do want to fight for my place at Liverpool because Fabio looks like he's off, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a minute. Do we just forgive and forget?
It's a tough one, really, isn't it? Because he's still probably one of our most successful captains in the majority of our lifetimes. And he's won it all with us. He's won the Premier League with us. And I've seen comments online over the past few days saying we would have won it all anyway. But I do think he will lose captaincy. But I think if he doesn't go now, he'll probably go next summer anyway, because he'll then only have a year left on his deal. So why not make that change now? I mean, Gerrard took the captain's armband off Hippier and he continued to play and was still an integral part of the team. So why can't a new captain come in who is going to be a captain for the next 5-10 years or whatever? It's just a bit more stability than Hendo, who we're probably not going to see play much next year. But I'd still keep him because leader in the squad, legend, absolute legend of the club, really. Yeah, his form's dipped in recent years, but he's still a legend. He still won everything and led this side, and I think he deserves that a bit more praise, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you made there, because he's not going to be featuring as much. So are we going to have either an on-field captain or a second captain who we actually see is club captain more? And are we going to have like an off-field captain in Henderson? Like Redknapp was obviously a club captain as well, Jamie Redknapp, and he had his injuries and therefore lack of minutes. And we saw other captains on the pitch actually leading. I personally would love to see Trent do it. And people are saying he's too young and he's not. Gerrard was captain at 24. Redknapp was captain slightly younger, I think, than that as well. And they both did absolutely sterling jobs. So it's a tricky one on the field if Henderson's not going to start. And you might be looking at Virgil, Alisson, maybe Trent there to fill that gap when Henderson's not playing. So it is a tricky one if he does stay. What do you do with the captaincy? I do think, though, knowing Klopp over the past few years, maybe he's changed. I think he'll stay loyal.
Yeah, I think so too. I think going through all the years that he's been managing, if you really watch it, he doesn't put new players straight into the squad. He gives them time to to get used to the league, to adjust to the whole the system, to adjust to the speed of the game that's going to be different from the league that they just came from. So I think Hendo will probably start the league, for about the first 5 games, and then you'll start seeing the new lads come in and be more involved in the games. So I think that is so true. I think he's gonna still be captain, but once the new lads are more adjusted and more adapted to the game and to the tactics, I think that's when you're gonna start seeing him just slowly pulling him out, and he won't be involved too much in the game.
Yeah, and before we move on to the next topic, do please like and subscribe to the channel. I can't see how many of you are in here because I'm on a little bit of a crap system at the minute. But
I'll tell you, there's 106 at the minute, 106 people, 11 minutes in. So fab.
So you all leave a like on the video. It helps us out loads with the algorithm and stuff, put us in everyone's subscription boxes or whatever it is on YouTube. And you can tell I'm getting old, can't you? Proper technophobic. But it does something where it helps. So make sure you do leave a like and subscribe. But moving on to Fabinho, it's been on Sky all day today. That Liverpool have given him permission to undergo medical with Al-Ittihad. It's a bit of a surprising one for me, this one, Harmony, because they've just signed Kante, plays a similar role. They've had quite a good window, these, and looks like we've given permission. I haven't looked at the photos of the boarding of the plane to Germany, but I've seen online he hasn't travelled and Hendo has. So it looks like that one's a bit more advanced. What do you think about that one?
Like I said from the beginning, I'm not happy about it at all, because I think if Hendo went, like I said, I don't think we would have missed him as much as we're gonna miss Fabinho, because people are not understanding how impactful this is going to be for Liverpool. We're talking about a guy that's going to be sitting in front of our centre backs, and he's going to be sitting there and protecting them. And we need to have someone with experience there. We need to have someone that's been there and done that, and that has that quality and that composure in moments where we are under the cosh. When you're playing Man City, you might not have possession that much, so you're getting attacked. You need someone there that keeps that composure, that has that experience, that's been there, that's played against these players, to command that midfield. And the fact that we're losing someone like that is what is worrying me. And I've been looking around and people are suggesting names, and the only name that I feel like that would be good enough would be Luis from Benfica. I think he, or what's the guy's name from Fulham? Yeah, I think them two, in terms of experience, in terms of having that quality, I think them two will be a great replacement for him. But I don't believe we'll get any of them, because of the money that the clubs are asking for. One has a release clause of 120 million euros that you gotta pay to even get the player, and the other, the club is asking for a ridiculous amount that Liverpool are not going to pay. So it's kind of like, who are we going to get to balance it out? We need to get that youth, but we also need that experience, kind of like Real Madrid has with Cruz and Modric. They got that youth, but they got the experience to guide that youth, through tough times, and that's what Liverpool's missing in that core. And that's the reason why I don't feel like we should have let him go. We should have just denied that, said, like, we know you want to go, but we can't let you go this season because you're going to be essential. And yeah, so I'm going to be interested to see what we do in the market. But yeah, that was a big loss for us.
I completely agree with this comment here by Anisar as well. That's the biggest worry for me. I mean, when we heard that Hendo was going, it was a bit sadness because your captain's going. But then I think with Fabinho, a lot of fans are slating him, which is bizarre. He's been our lighthouse for years. He's the one who revolutionised the midfield. Could argue he was as important as the goal scorers in the Barcelona 4-0 in his defensive performance. That was his best performance in a red shirt ever. And this is what worries me. If we go and bring Lavia in, we've got Bajcetic as well, relying on 2 kids. No matter how good they are, you're relying on 2 kids and putting that pressure on 2 kids to come in and basically be the starting name on the team sheet. When Lavia was rumoured to be coming in and Fabinho was there, that's what excited me. I don't know about you, Richie, but it was like he's going to have a season learning from Fabinho. Granted, we probably can't turn away 40 million for Fabinho, given his age, his decline in the past few seasons. I know we had a really bad season last year, but I think the whole squad should get a pass on that because the whole squad was rubbish. It wasn't just Fabinho, it wasn't just Henderson and all the scapegoats that football Twitter seems to have. But this is what worries me the most, is that we're going to probably replace him with a kid who's been in a relegation battle. He's never played at a stature like Liverpool. People could say, yeah, he's played for City, but in the youth ranks. Does that not concern you as well, Richie?
Yeah, absolutely. And the ideal scenario, like you said, was Lavia comes in, learns off Fabinho. I still think that Bajcetic's best position is as an 8. I don't think he's ready yet for that 6th role, in that disciplined role. We saw him get torn apart against Madrid and, when he was in that 6. But for me, yeah, you can't turn away the 40 million from Fabinho. And I wish, obviously, it would happen next summer, because that's a lot of pressure on a Romeo Lavia or Bajcetic or even Florentino Luis, who we mentioned before, coming in and having to basically hit the ground running. It took Fabinho quite a while when he actually came to Liverpool to get into the Liverpool side, because Klopp doesn't rush players. And we've seen that with Andy Robertson as well, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. But whoever comes in, if Fabinho goes, is going to have to hit that 6th position straight away. And if they don't, that could be pretty catastrophic, because that is so key to Trent Alexander-Arnold's inverted fullback role, or whatever you want to call it, because that number 6 is going to have to cover the ground that Trent leaves if he does go forwards. And that's why it worked so well. And that's why Henderson and Elliott didn't really work with Trent this season, because they didn't really cover his ground. Henderson couldn't anymore. And I don't think Elliott had that tactical discipline. I'm bringing up Damo's comment here. Henderson starts against 6 against Chelsea. I think it very might well happen. If Liverpool don't get somebody experienced in, because I don't think Lavia should really be ready to start and thrown straight in. If he was bought maybe at the start of the season, perhaps, as in like the start of the preseason. I know they've only gone out today, but he needs that time to be in against the Chelsea, who are going to be under a new coach, under Pochettino, and they're going to be going for it. They got such good, exciting signings in like Nkunku, who's going to be busy about, and Fabinho, is the perfect player for that. So it's a really tricky one, really hard, and it's slightly exciting because this is a massive rebuild and this is what we wanted. Henderson going, fine, wish him nothing but the best. Fabinho going could still do a job this year. And I think that's the bit that's going to hurt us the most, is that, yes, he could do a very good job this year. And whether it's Luis or Llorente or Lavia who comes in, that's a lot of pressure on those shoulders.
Yeah. No.
Harmony, when you look at Anfield wrapped on something before, there was one of the lads there who was saying, when you look at 6s and how much they go for, you're talking your Declan Rice is 105 million, Enzo Fernandez was 100 million plus. Casado's probably going to be close to 100 million. It's hard to go and find a replacement now as good as Lavia is at 50 million.
Mm-hmm.
If that transfer does happen, which it looks like, well, he's very exciting, looks like one for the future. But yes, it looks like he's going to be one for the future as well. It's just more a concern, isn't it? Losing someone who hasn't, although he's had 2 bad seasons, he hasn't really had the luxury of a good midfield in front of him. And I think it would have been interesting to see how Fabinho performed having Alexis and Szoboszlai in front of him, because that holding midfield role now in Liverpool's system also then now needs to cover Trent once he passes that halfway line. So it's whether he had the legs for that, and that might be why we're actioning a sale. But it just seems mad. Do you reckon it's just because it's a £40 million offer, and that's probably the highest we're going to get for Fabinho? It's the last chance to sell. Something we've never seen Liverpool do in recent years, be ruthless. Is this us being ruthless?
Yeah, it's us being ruthless, but ruthless at the wrong time. We chose the wrong moment to do exactly what we should have done all the other seasons, be ruthless and making sure while we were on top, staying on top by adding new additions, by keeping the squad fresh, by bringing players in that are going to challenge the starting 11. That's going to make them question, be like, am I starting this game? Did I perform well in training? I need to step up my game. That's what we should have done when we won the Champions League, when we won the Premier League. You know, when we were on top and we were challenging, we should have added, but we didn't. And this is the situation where you're at now. Now we're losing a player that's going to be so essential this season. And I brought it up before, I think Lavia is a great player. But experience, that's what he's lacking. And the only way he's going to get experience is by playing. But it's better to get experience when you really know that there's someone in front of you that's going to be playing every week. So the pressure's not on you every single time to play. So you can be more free. You can express yourself a little bit more. But if you're a guy, and especially you're 19 and you're coming to a team like Liverpool, where the standards are so high and we're expecting you to perform at 8, 10 every single week, and you're giving us 5s, 4s, and we're losing, as a kid, that is demoralizing. That can literally destroy his whole career. And that is a position that Liverpool might put him in. We don't know if we're going to get him or we're going to get someone more experienced and then bring him in. But I'm just saying, let's say we just get him and we put him in the starting 11. That pressure can literally either make him to a great player or break him. And that is something I didn't want us to do. And I kept saying it last night. I kept saying we need to keep Fabinho. He is so important. We need to keep him, only because if we're bringing in someone like Lavia, he can learn from him. Look at Madrid. I'm gonna use Madrid again because I'm just looking at what they're doing over there. I'm just like, wow, like, you know, they know that yes, these guys are getting old. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna give them one more year because we've got all these young players coming in. We're gonna give them one more year, give the young players time to, to adapt to the league, to adapt to the system, and to learn and to get so much knowledge from these guys. And once that year is gone, these new guys, these young guys can come in and they can fill the role without any problems. And that's what Liverpool should have done with Fabinho. But we chose to allow the whole process to go through. Yes, 40 million is a lot for him. I get that. But at the end of the day, the team should come first. You know what I mean? The team should come first. Your success on this season that we are all riding on, we're thinking, we need to make sure that this season is important. We needed to keep him, but we didn't. And we chose to sell him. So, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where this season's going to go.
Another name who's been mentioned, Richie, and you and Harmony have mentioned in today's stream, is Benfica's Florentino Lewis, who is 23. Again, never really played in a massive league like the Premier League, arguably the biggest in football. And I love how the minute he's being mentioned, everyone online seems to think, everything and he's the next best thing and all that. But when you delve into his stats, he does look very good. He looks like a better Fabinho, doesn't he, when you look at him? And Neil Jones has been saying it's a name we should watch. Do you think there's any legs in this? And do you think that him and Lavia is good enough to replace Hendo and Fabinho if they went, or are we still short?
If Hendo and Fab go, I still think if they both stay that we need another midfielder anyway. So yeah, I'd say we need 3. It's got to be +1 of whatever outgoings we have from now on. So we need 1 anyway. If Hendo goes, we need 2. If Fab goes, we need 2. If both of them go, we need 3. And that's it for me. We can't keep on making the same mistakes and selling ourselves short, whether that's at centre back or whether that's up top or whether that's in the midfield. We just can't do it anymore. Not when you're seeing the likes of Arsenal, splashing nearly 200 million this year on 3 players. They've had a really good season and they're building, and that's something that is something that Liverpool didn't do after winning the Champions League and the league, if I'm honest. So it has to be a +1 with whatever outgoings we have. Florentino Luis, yeah, he looks great. I can't say, and I'll be very surprised if most people can say that they've seen him consecutively 90 minutes, over a long period of time, because, it's Benfica and, it's not really a team I don't think people watch too often. Correct me if I'm wrong. Happily, pull up any of these comments on here for those who have seen him regularly. But, his stats are great. He's a Football Manager wonder kid, and I hate using that term. I really do. But there's lots of interest because of that, I think, and because of all of the YouTube compilations and bits like that. And it's got to be more, though. I'd love him to come in. I generally would, him and Lavia, but it has to be somebody else more experienced. Like I saw somebody up in the comments earlier about Ugarte. Yeah, we missed out on him. You know, Caicedo is the one for me. Caicedo has to be the one. But, you know, I know that people today have said that Liverpool aren't interested because it looks like he's going to Chelsea, much to the chagrin of many, many people, I'm sure.
Do you not think, though, that Liverpool are maybe avoiding hijacking that deal because they want to keep Chelsea happy for the Colwell? Because that doesn't seem to be going away either. So if you go and nab Caicedo, then Chelsea are definitely not going to sell you Colwell or Colwell, however you say his name, are they? They're not going to be like, we've just took our number one priority offers this summer, but here's our best prospect as well. I don't know if that's maybe Liverpool just keeping Chelsea happy by not going for him, because there's got to be a reason we're not in the market for him. He's probably the most impressive.
Like literally, and literally like the one who you'd go, yeah, that's the one who you want, apart from a Chalmany who obviously rubbished the rumours today himself, you know, like in a tweet saying he's not for sale, back off Liverpool, or words to that effect. So yeah, it is odd. I can't see, I don't know, I just can't see Chelsea selling us Colwell. If I'm completely honest, so I think
he's going to have to push for the move, and it looks like he's a boiled red. I think he's going to have to push for the move, and then if he doesn't get it, it looks even worse on him. But then Brighton, if they get Caicedo, they'll have a big war chest then to go and throw at Adam as well.
Yeah, and also, you know, if Chelsea do go and sign Caicedo, they need to get that money back. I know they've done all right selling their players, but they're still in deficit, you know, from last summer's bonanza. So maybe that would work in our favour if they got Caicedo for a centre-back option, but it certainly wouldn't help us in that defensive midfield option, where I don't think Lavia is enough. I think it should be someone experienced plus a Lavia. But, you know, it's tricky. There's not too many sixes in the world. And, you know, we saw James Pearce, who maybe isn't reliable as what he used to be, gave a couple of links. And Melissa Reddy did the same as well. So it is a little bit of a guessing game at the minute. I did like Melissa Reddy in a final tweet about the sixes that Liverpool like to move stealthily. And for me, that means there's something else going on. You know, there's no way that Liverpool sanctioned this Fabinho deal without something being in the pipeline. So, you know, we're all panicking, but let's not forget, Liverpool do move very, very swiftly and very, very stealthily, as we've seen before with the Fabinho deal. You know, the man who we're all panicking about. So they're going to have something in the pipeline. I cannot believe that a club like Liverpool are going to be silly enough to sanction a deal with our starting number 6 and not have anyone in the pipeline to come in to replace him. So it's not panic stations for me just yet. I do have faith in the club that they can do this, and hopefully they will get there.
Do you think Florentino could be that one we're doing stealthily, Harmony, because his name only seems to have cropped up today, and obviously the talk of Fabinho and Hendo has been for probably the majority of the week now, to be fair, broke at the start of the week. So do you think that is one we have maybe been doing behind the scenes, and we're not bothered about all these smoke screens of your Gravenberg, your Farams, your Kones and all stuff like that? It's just been a go behind the scenes, get this player from Benfica out the limelight and announce.
I hope so. I do hope so. I do hope so that is the case, but it's very unlikely because of the fact of his release clause. If you see Liverpool walked away from Jude Bellingham, if we're going to pay that much for him, why didn't we get Jude?
Yeah.
Because it's the exact same amount that he went for. You get what I'm trying to say? So for us to be working for a deal like that is like, okay, so why didn't you get Jude? And that is something that's the reason why I don't think we're going to go for him. The Caicedo deal, I wish we went for him. Honestly, I do wish we went for him because he's a player that I think he will suit our system so well. He just looks like a club player. And I think he'll be so well into the project that I feel like he'll just be so easy for him to adapt to our system. But apart from that, I don't know. I don't think that deal is in the pipeline. I think there's probably somebody else that we don't know, but I don't think is Luis. No.
Richie, do you not think with Bellingham, I've been thinking about this for weeks. There's more to it. I think if Liverpool truly wanted him, we would have got him. But then obviously his dad started asking for mad money, didn't he, as well, on top of the transfer fee, which I think Liverpool just walked straight away from it for that reason alone. But I wouldn't be surprised if we went and spent 100 mil plus on a Florentino or a player like that, because then the midfield rebuild's done. Bellingham's gone. That ship sailed. The fans have forgot about it. Whereas if we would have brought in a player like this and announced them a few weeks before Bellingham, there would have been uproar. Why didn't we get Bellingham? Like what Harmony's just said, we've just spent that money on him. Could just be Liverpool really delaying it for the backlash they'd get really for not spending that money on Bellingham, do you think?
Yeah, it could do, because I don't know what happened. I don't even think that they ended up speaking to Bellingham in the end as a club. And we've seen it before with Liverpool. They walked away from the Nabil Fekir deal. It wasn't anything to do with his knee. It was a change in the demands, and Liverpool aren't going to be messed about, and rightly so. I do like that about the club. They're not going to bend over for anybody, and they're certainly not going to be held to ransom. And I think that does put Liverpool in a respectfully strong position, which is why for many years the wage bills have been down, and we've still found that success, and we just need to continue that success. I think also Szoboszlai and McAllister, I might be proven wrong here. Szoboszlai and McAllister needed more than a one Jude Bellingham, because we needed those legs. And I think that's also played a massive, massive thing in there to Jude's deal. So again, same again now. Do we go out and spend 80 million on Caicedo, or do we get, let's say, Florentino, Luis and Lavia? Again, we still need numbers. So you could have this megastar, this marquee signing, but that's not what Liverpool need right now. They need young, fresh blood in, and they need more of them rather than a one.
Yeah. These comments about we have to get a loan for Szoboszlai is interesting, because Liverpool could have went and bought Szoboszlai outright. We've got a podcast with Mo Chatcher. It was the second time he's been on. Do go and check it out. And he delves into Liverpool's finances so well. And the reason that we get loans out for players like Szoboszlai is just to offset the payments for a few years, reduce interest, etc., etc. If an investor does come in and take a percentage out of Liverpool, with that rumour still being about Singapore investors, they would then clear that debt, so Szoboszlai's paid for it. It's just how they're doing it, really, isn't it? So I wouldn't say us getting a loan for Szoboszlai should be like, oh, well, we can't afford players. I think Liverpool could have probably one of the richest sides in the league when you listen to what Mo Trasher has looked into and stuff. And it's just smart, really, though. It really is smart. And I'm going to put this one to you first, Harmony. Other than Florentino Lewis, who's been rumoured today, Kalvin Phillips emerged as a target. This is from Paul Joyce as well, so this is nailed on, but then he could have been fed it just as a smokescreen by the club. But Kalvin Phillips, Sofian Amrabat and Ryan Gravenberch could also be considered to replace Fabinho.
Yep.
Gravenberch's not a 6, so that's a bit of a mad one. But Amrabat and Kalvin Phillips, one at the latest point in the season at City, really out of shape. One had one goal in the World Cup. If any one of them players come in to replace Fab and Hendo, would you be worried?
Yeah, because of the injury history. That's the only reason why I'll be. If we got Kalvin Phillips when he was at Leeds, that I would love it. I would be more than happy. I'd be like, yes, sign him on. But after seeing what happened with him at City with the whole injury situation, even Pep coming out and saying this guy's unfit, like we're not gonna play because he's so unfit. No, I would not want him to come in. And with the whole Amrabat situation, yes, he's a great player. Yes, he had a great World Cup, and last season it was probably one of his best seasons. But his injury records are really, really bad. And I don't think we need a player that's injury prone in that particular position, because we're going to go back to the same situation we just spoke about earlier. If one of them gets injured, Lavia has to start. You know what I'm trying to say? So we're just back to the same situation where we were going to be in the first place if we just got Lavia. So no, I don't think. I hope that we're not in for him. I really hope we're not in for both of them, because it's just a waste of money. I think the talent's there, but it's just the injury side of it that I'm looking at, and I'm just worried. I'm like, no, sorry, I wouldn't want that deal.
I think that was everyone's reaction, weren't it, Richie, this morning when Joyce come out and said that they were 3 targets we were looking at. I completely agree with what Harmony said. If we were linked to Phillips when he was at Leeds, I would have bit your hand off for him. He looked exciting as anything. As went on the decline, maybe it was just a year away from the limelight before he went into the side. We know Pep does do that a lot, but he just doesn't seem to be the Kalvin Phillips that was at Leeds, really. And it seems like his career's just on the downward spiral. He's won everything now to show how much motivations he got. But I know Joyce can send out smoke screens. So it's either look at it as in the sense of, oh, don't want any of them. But then it's why have the club fed that info to Joyce that we're looking at these 3 players? There's got to be something going on in the background, surely, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'd expect there to be movement. If not tomorrow, then certainly in a couple of days' time, once Fabinho goes. I should think what the club are doing are waiting for Fabinho to go to then announce something afterwards, because it's bad news and then it's good news. And then everyone forgets about Fabinho because we're all buzzing for whoever this new signing is. And it certainly won't be Kalvin Phillips, in my opinion. So they're doing it that way round, I would say. And that's a sensible way round. They're doing it from the PR team. The PR team aren't idiots. If we announce someone now and we're all buzzing for it, like we were with Szoboszlai and McAllister, it started so well, didn't it? And now all of us are doom and gloom again because we have to get rid of some players, and that was the case for how many years we've been saying Liverpool need to trim the deadwood. The likes of so and so and so and so and so and so need to go. Well, now they are going, and it's I would expect there to be something, especially given the reliability of Paul Joyce. He very, very rarely tweets, if I'm honest. He only tweets when he's 100% sure and confirmed. So for him to say that, there must be, something going on. And he listed 4 names. Was it 4? 3 or 4 names? Mm-hmm. So, for him just to list 4 names, it doesn't really make too much sense from a Liverpool point of view. Why would you give the most reliable journalist in Merseyside, who covers Merseyside, basically, okay, well, Liverpool want Kalvin Phillips soon. City rub their hands, go, okay, but we're going to add another 5 million on then because we know that they want him and we know that they're desperate and we know that Fabinho's on his way. So I tell you what, he's out of shape and he's not played. In fact, we talk about Lavia's inexperience. Kalvin Phillips has probably played less than Lavia in the past 2 seasons because of his injuries. Why would Liverpool be looking at Phillips? So I think it'd be really interesting to see what happens over the next few days.
Yeah, I think it's
that's the thing, Sorry, Ari, that was just say that's the thing with Joyce saying it.
Go on.
With Joyce saying these names, it's more of a worry in it because he only speaks when there's something there.
Yeah, it's so true, and I think it's you just said something really important, that every team now knows that we need a CDM. So any club that we go to and we say that we need or want to buy your player, we're interested in your player, they're going to add another 5 million up on top because they know that we need it. So we put ourselves in a position where we're going to get extorted at some point. wherever player we get, we're going to get extorted because the price is going to get bumped up because they know that is an important area that we need to fill. And that is something that's worrying me as well, because we've seen Liverpool walk away from so many deals because either the wage demand was too high or the prices that they asked for is too high. So, and then what we're going to end up with, that's what I'm kind of worried about. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And I understand the whole, perspective of the club and the PR team are, they're probably just waiting for Fabinho to leave and, to get the whole doom and gloom part of it out of the way. And then, to bring, an exciting news for us fans to be like, yes, finally the club is doing something. But at the same time, it's just, we need to look at the history of Liverpool and FSG. Every single time the price is not right, that in the ballpark that they want it to be, they'll walk away. They have no shame. They literally have no shame to walk away from the deal and just be like to Klopp, you know what? You got to deal with what you have because we're not going to pay for that, So that is the only thing that's worrying me.
If we only bring Lavia in, Richie, and say a left centre-back of Colwell or something like that was heavily rumoured, would you still say that's a successful window, even though we are extremely short in the midfield? You could then argue we're not that short because Bajcetic is coming back from injury. Got Elliott. Jones has looked very, very good at the end of the last season and in the under-21 campaign, so I believe he'll get minutes as well. And there's not as much pressure this season. So in that aspect, would we be okay? The demand of the Europa League is nowhere near as high as the demand of the Champions League. That's in a competition where we might see likes of Ben Dowick and players like that getting minutes. So if we only bought Lavia and a left centre-back, would you be happy going into the season or would you be very worried?
Is that also losing Fabi and Hendo?
Yeah.
No, because we need more players. If we're going to lose those two, even one of them, as I said at the start of the stream, is +1 for me at this point. and it has to be a +1 on anything. Yeah, I know that the Europa League, actually, I'm really looking forward to being in, because there is a little bit of a less pressure there. You probably won't see Salah starting, and it does give the youngsters there a really good opportunity to show themselves. And I was thinking as well, actually, they are the games where Lavia can play and Fabi can be rested. Because then there's no real pressure. The caliber of the teams, no offense to those teams, but they're certainly not the caliber of the Champions League teams. And Lavia there could actually play his trade really well, as could the likes of Bedjetic and Doak as well. So that's why I was looking forward to it, because I was thinking, oh, good, we can integrate all of these new signings, and that'll be a great opportunity. And then Fabi gets a week's rest that he's not had for a long time, and we might see him back to his best. So it really, Liverpool will be playing Premier League, won't they? 38 games, your best team out every time. Don't have to worry about rotation that often until you get to the later stages of the Europa League, hopefully, and the FA Cup and even League Cup. That silverware at the end of the day. Liverpool can't be supercilious when it comes to winning silverware. So it's going to be, for me, +1 on any outgoings, because we need that one now as well.
Harmony, what about you? Do you think if Liverpool was to change the system in this pre-season, because with Núñez getting a 9, it would indicate he probably is going to be starting. Yep. So then if you could maybe then have Gakpo just behind him in that 10, then Szoboszlai and McAllister behind him with Trent behind them, sort of like a pillar diamond sort of thing.
Yeah.
If we then only bring Lavia in, and Carl will pose the same question to you, even though it's slightly different to Richie's, would you be happy to involve the system change?
System change, yes, but the players that are going to be playing in that midfield, no, because they're not really that defensive minded.
Yeah.
If we think that Trent is not, as everyone says, he's not great at defense in the right back, what makes you think he's going to do a better job in the centre? You know what I mean? Because that is even more space that he has to cover. That is even more ground that he has to. So I don't know, is doing some work in the background. So, that's even more space that he has to cover. That's even more ground that that's even more like grounds that he has to cover for players that are probably out of position. So that is the only reason why I wouldn't want that system to change, because of the fact that if Trent is playing there or McAllister is playing there, even though yes they can play defensive, but that is not something that they are actually used to. They're used to being McAllister is if you saw him for Brighton, he was that guy that was making that late run, that final pass, or carrying the ball, out of tight spaces, and that is something that he needs to get into, because if we put him in the part where he has to defend now, that is taken away from his ability to actually impact the game. So it's just frustrating. Honestly, I feel like Fabinho just put us in a position where now we're thinking, how are we going to adapt? How are we going to, adjust? How are we going to deal with the situation that the fact that we might not be able to get an experienced CDM? And yeah, that's why we done with it.
One positive I keep thinking, Richie, is we brought Fabi in out the blue. So have we had his replacement lined up out the blue for a few weeks? So we don't have money added onto the price tag, which is what you and Harmony alluded to before. Do you think that maybe Fabinho told us his intentions maybe a few weeks ago? We've sort of got the replacements in, and now we've got the green light on that. We've then given Fabinho the green light to move on himself. Do you think it could be something like that where it's pretty much done? I know you said before about getting bad news, then good news, but do you think it'd be a signing who we have never even heard of before, like Fabinho, where it was just, he was meant to be going United, boom, he was like Liverpool, that's the Champions League? Do you think it'll be something similar to that?
Yeah, we know we even saw Szoboszlai coming in, did they? We were all eyes on Thuram and Kone, and then all of a sudden we've released Szoboszlai's clause, and that's it, game over. So absolutely, I do think Liverpool want you to look one way, and they've already got someone else the other way. They want you to look to one side because you don't know what's coming over here. They blindside us quite a lot, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because the fans aren't expectant. We saw how expectant fans were with Jude Bellingham. We've seen it in the past with other linked players that we haven't got. And it's, then when someone does come in who we weren't linked to anyway, it's like, oh, this is amazing. It's like a brand new toy. It's a brand new present, like any signing is. But there's also that complete unknown entity as well. Like no one knew it was happening. It's not a drawn out saga. Like, do you remember when Thiago came? Everyone sort of was like just waiting and waiting and then getting frustrated. And then when he did come, there wasn't that hype around it. Whereas if it would have got announced, like the Jota deal as well was really good. Everyone thought it was being Adama Traore, and then Jota got announced. It was like, oh, amazing. We didn't even know anything about it. You know, and they're the best deals as fans. They're the best deals where it comes out of nothing. So I can't see. I think the only one, and I've been thinking about this while you guys have been talking. The only one that I do find puzzling is the Lavia deal, because no one else at all really has gone in for him, which makes me think, well, has he already agreed Liverpool terms? And the clubs are basically like, well, he's already going to Liverpool, because Southampton are relegated. They know that he doesn't really want to be playing in the Championship. They've named their price, and no other clubs have gone for it, when CDMs really are pretty short.
Or Liverpool may be saying to Southampton, nobody's coming in for him. There's no City aren't going to come in for him next year after and pay 50 million for a Championship player. So we'll wait. We want this much, and that's the only thing I keep thinking is that. But I'm going to finish on a comment from Jay Museum, put it to both of you. He says, I think it'll be Lavia for 44 million with split payments and incentives to cover the sell-on clause. Could maybe even see Tyler Morton thrown in that deal. I've seen a few murmurs of that. Panel's final guesses for an experienced DM. I'll start it and say I'd loved, because I've seen a few whispers of it, and I feel like when you see a few whispers and then all these signings that come out the blue, they seem to have a few whispers here and there before it. I'd love Joshua Kimmich, because I think he comes in now, he's ready. Lavia can then learn off someone as good as Kimmich, takes the pressure off him a little bit so he can ease into the side. Kimmich comes in for 2-3 years, does the job, then your long-term replacements, Lavia and Bajcetic. That would be my ideal situation, but I don't think we'd get both of them. I'll pass it to you first, Arnie. Who would you like with Lavia if that was the case?
Casado. I would love him. I would love him. Honestly, I would. I just feel like he'll fit us so good. Him or a Paulinho, because I feel like all the other ones I don't feel like we're gonna go for them. So I feel like him and a Paulinho and a Lavia will be a great addition to Liverpool.
What about you, Richie?
Was this with Lavia as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Just because his name's only been mentioned today, I'm going to go with Luis, Florentino Luis, just because it's only just been mentioned today. He wasn't in that Paul Joyce, look this way because Liverpool are going to strike another way tweet. He wasn't named in that. And he is a very much FSG/Klopp type player, young, from a league where he's not as established as the Premier League, but he can certainly develop and grow into it. So I'll go for him. I would 100% agree with Harmony though. Caicedo is the one. If we can get that one over the line, I think that would transform Liverpool's midfield as an absolute beast of a midfield, but doesn't look likely.
Yeah,
we'll leave it there. Don't forget, if you're watching the video, leave a like and a subscribe. It does go a long way and helps us out loads. We are streaming every single day at 7:30. We've got a really, really, really cool stream on tomorrow as well with FJ and Grace. It's been in the works for a few weeks. It's going to be dead exciting. I think she's the first female to be on our channel as well as a host with FJ. So that's fantastic. And I'm excited. A lot of people haven't seen what this is going to be about. They've kept it under wraps. Grace has got a fantastic channel already, a fantastic podcast all about the Reds, and she's coming in to do a show with FJ. So do make sure you're here at 7:30 tomorrow for that. But we'll leave it there. Thank you from me, Harmony, and Richie. We've been LFC Transfer Room, and thanks one for watching.